morning. Welcome to News for Hearing Impaired. I am Anil Thomas. With me, Manisha, this morning. First up, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lays the foundation stone of Ram Temple at Ayodhya. PM calls the temple a symbol of unity in diversity and an inspiration for generations to come. Says Lord Ram's idols remain relevant in every walk of life today, and that they represent the values of unity, development and trust of all. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to Maharashtra Chief Minister over heavy rainfall situation, assures all possible support. Mumbai received the highest rainfall of the season just within 12 hours on Wednesday. 15 NDRF teams working to deal with the rains in Mumbai. Flood situation remains critical in Bihar. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar conducts an aerial survey of affected areas. Meanwhile, in Assam, the flood situation improves. RBI to announce the monetary policy decision through digital mode today. The central bank has been taking steps proactively to limit the damage to the economy caused by the pandemic and lockdown. Centre accepts Bihar government's recommendation for a CBI probe into the Sushant Singh Rajput death case. ED summons Rhea Chakrabarti to appear at the ED Mumbai office on 7th of August. Supreme Court asked Maharashtra, Bihar Centre and Sushant's father to file replies within 3 days. India rebuts China's comment on Jammu and Kashmir, says Chinese side has no locus standi whatsoever on this matter and is advised not to comment on the internal affairs of other nations. Recovery rate improves further, crosses 67% with over 12.8 lakh recoveries. Highest ever single day recovery of more than 51,000. Case fatality rate declines to 2.09%. Globally, cases cross 1 crore 89 lakh mark with over 7 lakh deaths. Now for the stories in detail. President Ramnath Kovind has accepted the resignation of Girish Chandra Murmu as Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. President has appointed Manoj Sinha to be the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir with effect from the date he assumes charge of his office. Murmu's resignation came on the day the Union Territory marked the first anniversary of the revoking of Article 370 of the Constitution, which scrapped Jammu and Kashmir's special status. A 1985 IAS officer, G.C. Murmu, has served as Principal Secretary to Narendra Modi during his tenure as Gujarat Chief Minister. He was a secretary in the Ministry of Finance at the time of his appointment as Lieutenant Governor. A golden chapter was written in the history of India on Wednesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi realized a long-cherished dream of millions of Indians when he laid the foundation stone of a Ram temple at Ayodhya. He led the nation at the designated auspicious time in performing a Bhumi Pujan ceremony at the site on which a grand temple will be built. Saints invoked divine blessings as they recited special prayers on the occasion. It culminated in the consecration of the Ram temple. This was the moment millions of residents of Ayodhya had been waiting for decades on end. Prime Minister Modi described it as a moment of national unity and solidarity. He said, the day will remain etched in our collective memory and inspire generations to come.
ये मंदिर करोड़ों करोड़ लोगों की सामूहिक संकल्प शक्ति का भी प्रतीक बनेगा। ये मंदिर आने वाली पीढ़ियों को आस्था, श्रद्धा और संकल्प की प्रेरणा देता रहेगा।
Addressing the gathering after the ceremony concluded, Prime Minister Modi recalled the sacrifices and contributions of those who had taken part in the campaign for the Ram Temple.
बरसों से टाट और टेंट के नीचे रहे हमारे रामलला के लिए अब एक भव्य मंदिर का निर्माण होगा। टूटना और फिर उठ खड़ा होना सदियों से चल रहे इस व्यतिक्रम से राम जन्मभूमि आज मुक्त हुई है। राम मंदिर के लिए कई कई सदियों तक कई कई पीढ़ियों ने अखंड अविरत एक निष्ठ प्रयास किया है। आज का ये दिन उसी तप, त्याग और संकल्प का प्रतीक है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the universal appeal of Lord Ram. He said Ramayana was popular. It was followed not just by the devout, but not just in India, but in countries such as Laos, Cambodia, Indonesia and Malaysia too.
दुनिया में कितने ही देश राम के नाम का वंदन करते हैं। वहां के नागरिक खुद को श्री राम से जुड़ा हुआ मानते हैं। विश्व की सर्वाधिक मुस्लिम जनसंख्या जिस देश में है वो है इंडोनेशिया। वहां हमारे देश की तरह काकाविन रामायण, स्वर्णदीप रामायण, योगेश्वर रामायण जैसी कई अनूठी रामायण है। राम आज भी वहां पूजनीय है। कंबोडिया में रमकेर रामायण है। लाओ में फ्रालाब रामायण है। मलेशिया में हिकायत शेरी राम, तो थाईलैंड में रामाकेन है। आपको ईरान और चीन में भी राम के प्रसंग तथा राम कथाओं का विवरण मिलेगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mother, Hiraba, joyfully acknowledged the Bhumi Pujan ceremony of the Ram Temple. The veranda of her home was lit with small diyas and a rangoli was drawn in honor of Lord Ram right at the town corridor of her home in Gujarat. Moving to Mumbai, where it has received extremely heavy rainfall of the season just within 12 hours on Wednesday, besides the highest ever wind speed. According to the Met Department, intense to very intense spell of rainfall likely will continue over Mumbai today morning as well, though the intensity of rains is likely to reduce thereafter. The Weather Bureau has issued a yellow alert for Mumbai and neighboring areas including Thane for today. Meanwhile, NDRF teams, including 4 teams in Mumbai, have been deployed in Maharashtra to deal with the heavy rain situation. A total of 15 NDRF teams are in place. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday spoke to Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray regarding the situation prevailing in Mumbai and surrounding areas due to heavy rainfall. The Prime Minister has assured all possible support. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has asked the BMC to stay on high alert and urged the people to stay at home. He also reviewed the situation with district collectors across the state. Moving to Bihar, where the flood situation continues to worsen with floods overflowing rivers, mostly those originating in Nepal, entering in 2 new districts and more areas of the existing ones. Saharsa and Madhepura are the new entrants to the list of flooded districts, taking the total number of affected districts to 16. Darbhanga and Muzaffarpur are the worst hit districts, claiming almost half of the total flood-affected population in the state presently. Over 66.6 lakh people across 1,165 panchayats have been hit by floods. A total of 33 teams of NDRF and SDRF are involved in the rescue and relief operations, as part of which 4,81,000 people have been evacuated from the troubled areas so far. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar conducted an aerial survey of the affected areas yesterday. Floodwaters continue to recede in Assam, even as over 1,43,000 people are still reeling under the deluge across 15 districts. Golpara district remained the worst hit, followed by Morigaon and Bongaigaon. Brahmaputra river is flowing above the danger mark at Dhubri town and Nimati Ghat in Jorhat district, while erosion has been witnessed at different places in Udalguri and Sonitpur districts. IMD has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall at isolated places in Assam till August 8th. Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das will announce the monetary policy decision through digital mode today. The RBI's MPC on Tuesday started its 3-day brainstorming on the bi-monthly monetary policy amid the urgency to revive the economy hit by COVID-19 and increased demand for loan restructuring by the industry. The 6-member Monetary Policy Committee, headed by the RBI Governor, will announce its decision today. This is the 24th meeting of MPC. With an aim to boost economic growth, the MPC has culminatively cut the repo rate by 115 basis points over the last 2 meetings, resulting in a total policy rate reduction of 250 basis points since Feb 2019. The central bank has been taking steps proactively to limit the damage to the economy caused by the pandemic and lockdown. Enforcement Directorate has summoned actress Rajya Chakrabarti to appear before the agency on Friday in Mumbai. The Enforcement Directorate is probing the financial misconduct aspect of the investigation in the Sushant Singh Rajput death case. Meanwhile, CBI will take up the probe into the alleged suicide of actor Sushant Singh Rajput on a reference of the Bihar government. Bihar police had registered a case of abetment to suicide, criminal conspiracy, cheating among other charges on a complaint from the family of the deceased actor. The Supreme Court has given the governments of Maharashtra and Bihar, along with the union government and the late actor's father, 3 days to reply to actor Rajya Chakrabarti's plea seeking the transfer of the case from Patna to Mumbai. The Ministry of External Affairs has rebutted the comment of Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson on Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. In response to a media query on Chinese MFA spokesperson's comment, MEA spokesperson Anurag Srivastav said that we have noted the comments of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson on the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The Chinese side has no locus standi whatsoever on this matter and is advised not to comment on the internal affairs of other nations. India on Wednesday slammed Pakistan for its singular unsuccessful attempt to broach the bilateral issue of Kashmir in the United States Security Council and said its narrative had lost steam and did not deserve the time and attention of the world body. India's permanent representative to the UN Ambassador T.S. Tirumurti said that the members of the Security Council underlined that Jammu and Kashmir was a bilateral matter between India and Pakistan and also stressed on the importance of the Shimla Agreement. The UNSC had held informal meetings on Kashmir twice, the first in August 2019 and later in January this year. The August 2019 meeting was the first such in decades after India revoked Jammu and Kashmir's special status. India continues to fight vigorously against the COVID-19 pandemic and is setting new records each day in terms of recovery rate. India's fight against COVID-19 reached a new high as a total of 51,706 patients recuperated from COVID-19 in India in a span of 24 hours, the highest in a day, pushing the recovery rate to 67.19%. With an increased number of COVID-19 patients recovering, there has been a 63.8% increase in the recovered cases in the last 14 days, indicating that the COVID-19 response and management driven by the centre's test, track, treat strategy is yielding the desired result. With this, the active coronavirus cases in the country crossed 5,86,000 and the case fatality rate further dipped to 2.09%. Meanwhile, the total number of recoveries in the country now stands at 12,82,215 people. In Assam, total lockdown of 7 days has been imposed in Tinsukia and Makum municipal boards. Strict lockdown will remain enforced till August 11th. The district administration in Upper Assam has announced lockdown in the district in view of the surge in COVID-19 cases. However, essential services within the mentioned areas will remain unhindered during this lockdown period. Meanwhile, Tinsukia district administration has directed that rapid antigen test for detection of COVID-19 be carried out. This test is mandatory for all shopkeepers, employees and delivery persons to open their shops and other permitted establishments in all marketplaces. Tamil Nadu government on Wednesday gave permission to gymnasiums to reopen in the state. In an order, Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy said that standalone private gyms in Tamil Nadu would be allowed to operate with customers aged 50 and below from the 10th of this month. They said standard operating guidelines for this purpose would be published separately. Gymnasiums would have to abide by them to stay open. An order came a week after the centre issued guidelines for Unlock 3, which became effective from August 1st. As per the Union Home Ministry guidelines, gymnasiums and yoga institutes which have been shut for over 4 months were allowed to open from Wednesday. Indian Institute of Science, India's premier advanced science and technological research institute, has developed unique mobile vans for testing COVID-19 and to provide accurate results within 4 to 12 hours. An end-to-end testing solution called Mobile Infection Testing and Reporting MITR has been developed at the IISc incubated startup called Shanmukha Innovations. The mobile labs allow healthcare workers to collect, process and test samples using RT-PCR on-site and upload results directly to the ICMR portal. The mobile lab can conduct up to 9,000 tests per month. Vans will be deployed in the containment zones and corona hotspot areas. Time now to take a look at the global updates on COVID-19. Globally, over 1,89 lakhs and 34,000 people are currently infected with COVID-19. Coronavirus has claimed the lives of over 7,10,000 people worldwide. The total recoveries in the world stand at 1,21 lakhs. United States and Brazil remain the worst affected in terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. Starting with the United States, the country has been worst hit by the pandemic with more than 49,73,000 cases and over 1,61,000 deaths, followed by Brazil, which has registered over 28,62,000 cases and over 97,000 deaths. Looking at the death toll worldwide, US and Brazil are followed by Mexico with over 48,000 deaths. In Brazil, one of the most influential indigenous leaders died on Wednesday from COVID-19. Chief Aritana Yavalpithi, who led the people of Upper Xingu in central Brazil and helped create an indigenous park there, was admitted to a Goiânia hospital 2 weeks ago. Aged 71, he died at the hospital from lung complications caused due to COVID-19. According to Brazil's largest indigenous umbrella organization, APIB, 631 indigenous people have died from COVID-19 and there has been 22,325 confirmed cases in the community so far. Meanwhile, Chile is all set to grant more social freedoms to its people starting from August 10th as it gradually reopens economic activity. The strict coronavirus lockdown, however, still continues in Santiago. 3 regions of Chile will ease lockdown from the 10th of this month after COVID-19 cases went down in recent week. Santiago, a city of 5 million people, will keep its current lockdown measures in place despite calls from residents to join other areas of the country that are reopening. The South American country of 18 million people has completed 4 months of mandatory preventive isolation to halt the spread of COVID-19, which so far has infected more than 3,64,000 people and killed over 9,700. The Enforcement Directorate obtained the custody of 3 people, including the main accused, Swapna Suresh, in connection with the Kerala gold smuggling money laundering case. According to officials, the 3 will be questioned and their statements recorded under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The ED had filed a PMLA case last month to probe the alleged gold smuggling case using a diplomatic bag after studying an NIA FIR. In Punjab, DGP Punjab Dinkar Gupta has ordered to constitute 2 special investigation teams to fast-track investigations in the huge tragedy, while ADG P Law and Order Ishwar Singh will supervise both the SIT investigations. The Punjab Police has registered a total of 5 FIRs in the case. The DGP said that SP-level officers have for the first time been nominated as investigating officers for those cases to ensure conviction of the offenders. Over 30 people have already been arrested in the case and 13 officials of police and excise department have also been suspended for negligence. Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh has assured that the people responsible for the tragedy will not be spared. As many as 113 people died after drinking spurious liquor. Union Minister Prasar Bharati paid tributes to former Foreign Minister and senior BJP leader Sushma Swaraj on her first death anniversary. Union Minister in a tweet said, and I quote, "Tributes to respected former Foreign Minister of the country and an energetic speaker Sushma Swaraj on her death anniversary." Moving to some international stories on Iran, the Secretary of State of USA, Mike Pompeo, said that the United States would put forth a United Nations Security Council resolution next week calling for an extension of the arms embargo on Iran. Pompeo added that one way or the other, the Trump administration would make sure that the UN embargo is extended, but without going in detail, said he was confident the efforts would succeed. The arms embargo on Iran is currently set to end on October 18 under Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal with world powers, which Washington quit in 2018. If the United States is unsuccessful in extending the embargo, it has threatened to trigger a return of all UN sanctions on Iran under a process agreed in the 2015 deal.
The President's guidance is very, very clear. We're not going to let the arms embargo expire on October 18th of this year. There are nations lining up to sell weapons that will destabilize the Middle East, put Israel at risk, put Europe at risk American lives as well. We're deeply aware that snapback is an option that's available to the United States, and we're going to do everything within America's power to ensure that that arms embargo is extended, and I'm confident that we will be successful.
The United States want to see untrusted Chinese apps removed from U.S. app stores. Speaking at a news conference, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called the Chinese-owned short video app TikTok and messenger app WeChat significant threats to personal data of Americans. Pompeo also announced a detailing new 5-pronged clean network effort aimed at curbing potential national security risk. Pompeo's comments came less than a week after President Donald Trump had said that he will act soon to ban Chinese-owned video app TikTok from the United States. A massive explosion rocked Lebanon's Beirut on Wednesday, flattening much of the city's port, damaging most of the buildings covering the city in debris all over. The massive warehouse explosion has killed at least 135 people and has injured more than 5,000. The blast was reportedly caused by a detonation of more than 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate. According to the Beirut governor, Marwan Aboud, the blasts have destroyed half of the city, leaving up to 3 lakh people homeless. The cost of damage from the blast tops $3 billion. Investigators probing the deadly blast that ripped across Beirut have focused on possible negligence in the storage of tons of a highly explosive fertilizer in a waterfront warehouse. A 2-week state of emergency has been imposed in Beirut after the incident, as Lebanon cabinet seeks house arrest for officials over the blast. Rescue operations are underway as Lebanese rescue teams pulled out bodies and hunted for missing people in the wreckage of buildings, as investigations blame negligence for a massive warehouse explosion that sent a devastating blast wave across Beirut. Well, that's all we have time for, but do not forget to wear your face mask, use your sanitizers to keep your hands clean, and every 20 minutes to wash your hands. Bye for now.